Oh, you thought this was just a podcast? Nah, honey. This that work. Soul work. Where therapy meets poetry and real talk sounds like late night radio. And me, I'm your favorite auntie who will read you for filth with psychological precision. I'm J. Marie, and this is UnMuted. Relational rants and real talk. Yeah, I got what you want and what you never knew you needed. Hey y'all, welcome back to UnMuted, Relational Rants and Real Talk. I am your host, J. Marie, and I am excited to be here with you guys today. How has your week been? It is almost the end of the week. Tomorrow's Friday, and I am thrilled. I am thrilled for the upcoming weekend. This week has been a doozy. I feel like I say that about all the weeks, but it's not like my week has been long per se. Actually, the week went by very fast, but it was just like, I feel like jam packed with stuff. And not even like physical things, just like mental stuff. So I had some interesting exchanges this week, and I wanted to like share this story with you guys. And this story is going to be about flags, the red kind. Yeah. You know, little flags, big flags, medium-sized flags, but they're all red, all of them. And I want to share about this meeting or this encounter that I had with a gentleman, if that's what we want to call him. We're going to see. Let's vote. Maybe we take a vote at the end of the story to determine if you guys consider him a gentleman or not. Let's get into it. So, like, first and foremost, let me just say this. My intuition be like catching things. It be catching all sorts of things. Now, it doesn't always know what it's catching, but it be catching weird shit. Okay, that's what it does know. It's like some weird, some off, some strange, and I'll be listening. You know what I'm saying? I like hold it right. I don't try to figure it out, but I'm just like, okay. So intuition started buzzing when I met this man. And it wasn't that my intuition was going off about him per se, but it was just about his approach that I thought was kind of weird. Okay. It was a little strange, but very, very mild. But it definitely was one of them little mini flags, maybe on the play. Red flag on the play. So I'll go out. This is like a Friday night. I go out, lovely weather. I'm cute. My cousin is hosting a party at the lake, and it's a vibe. I go, say what's up. Girlfriend meets me out there. We're having a good old time. Just vibing, having a couple of cocktails, chopping it up with people I know. And I'm off to the side, and me and my girlfriend, we just, we're in a party, okay? We just, we just vibing. And in my peripheral, okay, because it's always my peripheral. My intuition is my peripheral. No, I'm just playing. But in my peripheral, I'm like, I see this guy, or these guys actually kind of like hovering. And they're inching closer and closer and closer. And I'm like, okay, like whatever. And so eventually, I peep, I look, I'm like, okay, very tall man. He has some, thickness to him. And he was handsome. He was a very handsome guy. And I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? But then, like, right next to him was his cousin. Well, I later found out was his cousin, but I was just like, okay. So, anyway, eventually he ends up, sparking up a conversation with me. And we chit chat for a little bit. He asked me for my number. And let me tell you something. Red flag, I don't know, point something. This is the second mini red flag. It's a little one. If you're a man, you ask me for my number. Now, I'm not into like, oh, you gendered stuff. Maybe a little bit. But if you're a man and you ask me for my number, no, I'm sorry. If you're a man and you tell me to take your number, it's going to be no. Not if you want to talk to me. And I'm very upfront about that. I'm like, well, you might want to take my number because if I take yours, I'm not calling you. And I'm just not doing it. Because I think it's like a passive aggressive way that men like to, I think sometimes just get out of really making any real effort. Like maybe sometimes, like people, I realize, this is sidebar, y'all. I realize people sometimes have a hard time just enjoying the moment. Like if you meet somebody and y'all vibing, you're interacting, you enjoying whatever exchange you're having, it feels like sometimes people feel like they have to seal the deal with exchange of numbers. And that's not always the case. Maybe you just enjoy talking to that person. So I don't know if men sometimes feel that way, where it's like they kind of feel like a pressure or expectation to exchange numbers, and they end up giving the woman their number just to kind of tie things up in a nice little bow. Or is it just, more like passive? I'm sure there's some men that are like that. But I think sometimes men want to set it up where women do the initial reach out, and it kind of to me sets the tone for the woman to move the relationship or the dating situation forward. And I'm not doing that. Now I'll actively participate and I'll show my interest, but I don't really want to move things forward. Because if you're approaching me, then now if I approach you, which I don't, but if I approach you, then yeah, I'll get your number. I mean, I don't know, logic to me, but whatever. So I just tell him like, you can give me your number, but I ain't gonna call you. So he took my number, and then he does that thing that people do where, he has to text or call or whatever. Just again, I think it's just the same scenario. Like here, so you can also try to reach out to me. A little intuition thing though going off here. So anyway, it was cool, whatever. So the next night, I end up. He texts me that night. Hey, you know, whatever. It's nice meeting you. He told me good night and stuff like that. I was like, cool. So the next day, I text him and I was like, hey, it was nice meeting you. And that was that. Like, it was nice meeting you last night. So anyway, we got into like a little text exchange. He called me, conversation was very pleasant, but I did kind of call him out on like his approach, because I was like, for a second, I was like, I thought you were trying to hook me up with your cousin. And yeah, I was like, that was going to be a no for me, dog. Your cousin was going to be a absolutely not. So anyway, he starts telling me like, yeah, I'm gonna be off for the rest of July. He was like, I love to take you out on a date. And I'm like, that's cool, sounds great. You let me know the plans and all that stuff. So then he goes. He disappears into thin air per usual. Not per usual, but so now we got a real red flag. Okay. You disappeared. I'm not thinking anything of it for real. I mean, have that mental check, like, yeah, he disappeared. So Sunday, he hits me up and he texts me like, you don't have to be no stranger. Let me tell you something. Sidebar number 2. Red flag number. I don't know what red flag we on, but red flag. Red flag on the play. Let me tell y'all something, sidebar. Please, men and women, because I know women use the phrase too, but men in particularly, because that's who I date. Please retire the saying, you don't have to be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. Because guess what? I am a stranger. And I'm going to act accordingly. I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am. So we are strangers, actually. And if I did know you at a different point in time in life, and it's been some time past since you've actually seen me, like for real, some good time, we're strangers again. So I will most certainly be a stranger, and I'm going to act like one. So stop saying that to me. Please find another phrase. Find another entry point other than don't be a stranger. Okay. Anyway, that was a PSA. So I'm already annoyed by that. Don't be a stranger. So I said, who's the stranger? Because you disappeared. So who's the stranger? Texts work both ways. Yeah, I know that because I text you the night after we met. So I know that already. Right? Okay. Because we already established that. All right, cool. Anyway, flag on the play. Okay. Because I'm like, cool. So we get in a little conversation. He's just like, I want to take you out for ice cream. And he's like, what's your schedule like? When are you free? So I'm like, Thursday evenings, the weekends. His response, oh, okay, yeah, the weekend's best for me. Yep, you knew that already. You knew the weekend was better for you. So why did you really ask what my schedule was like? Maybe you should have just led with your schedule. That would make the most sense. And then I could tell you if I was available or not. But okay. Red flag. Give you half a red flag. And I'll give you 0.25 red flag. Okay, because you're trying to act like you flexible and you care about my schedule and you don't. It was fake. Fraud. Fraudulent. So anyway, he gets to talking and he's like, okay, like, yeah, this weekend, maybe we shoot for Saturday. I'm like, okay, that's cool. He was like, pick a place. I picked the place. And then he like, we getting right there to that confirmation. Let's solidify. And he's like, oh, let me check to make sure I ain't got nothing going on Saturday. How you suggest today and you don't know if you have anything going on? Suspicion. A suspect to me. But I'm just like, okay. I'm like, all right. And he wraps up the call, gets off the call without confirming a date or letting me know what his schedule is like. You initiated all of this, but you don't know if you're free or not. It was giving maybe I might have something that come up that's gonna be more entertaining than you, which is fine. But don't hit my phone trying to set up a date if you're not serious. So anyway, Red flag on the play. The red flags are adding up. So after that, I think he hit me up the next day, a continuation into the next day, the day after next. So that was like a Tuesday. So Tuesday, he's like communicating. He's texting me throughout the day. And at some point, I was like, oh, what do you got planned for the day? And he's like, nothing. I'm just chilling. I'm gonna probably work on some t-shirts in my man cave and blah, 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 blah. So I get into the conversation with him. I'm like, oh, what kind of t-shirts do you do? But I heard, man cave. Okay, cool. Just gonna hold that. When I was in it was like graduate school. As a therapist, it used to be like when you hear like certain things people say, like you may not necessarily want to speak on it in that moment or in that particular session, but they used to tell us to file it away in your file cabinet. So I filed man cave away in my file cabinet. Okay, right next to a red flag. It's been flagged for further evaluation. Cool. All right. So anyway, he gets to talking. We're still kind of communicating, and he's like, I'm at this festival. He's like, I'm in this music festival. He lives far north. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. No, first he tells me he's at a food festival. I said, okay, cool. I'm like, what's the name of it? And he doesn't really give me a name. Eventually he does, but I forget what it was. But it sounds stupid. So I said, oh, okay. And I was like, what type of food is it there? And he's just like, oh no, it's a festival. What kind of festival? Is it a food festival? So then he starts saying it's live music. And I'm just like, okay, I thought it was food festival, but okay. Maybe it's just food at the festival. But anyway. So he like, now see again. File cabinet open. His file on top, right there, right in the front. So, cause I'm like, who are you at the festival with? But I don't ask because I don't care really. But I'm filing things away. So he gets to telling me like it's a live band. I'm like, okay, cool. What's the I think he tells me the band's name. It's like Soul Sacrifice. And I was like, yikes. I said they probably putting a spell, putting a hex on you right now. So I hope you leave with all your organs. You might want to check before you leave up out of that. So I'm like, okay. Sad. So anyway, he ends up calling me and we get into just a regular conversation. It was actually a very nice conversation. He's very easy to talk to, very pleasant. Every interaction I actually had with him, I recall it being very pleasant. I was like, he's a very pleasant man. And the conversation just flowed really. And it seems like we had some similar interests, and there were some things I peeped about him that I was like, this okay. I was like, okay. Oh, let me say this. When we were still texting, he must have mentioned something about the date. And I was like, oh, the maybe date. He was like, oh, she said maybe. He literally texted me that, like, oh, she said maybe. And I said, no, you're the person that needs 3 days to check your calendar to let me know if you're available in 3 days. Okay, cool. Sprinkle little mini confetti size red flags. But whatever, dude. Whatever. So he like, I'm gonna make it happen. Oh, okay. You let me know. So we're chatting, like I said, great conversation, very pleasant. Laughs, jokes, all that stuff. He thinks I'm hilarious because I was like, "You still got your organs." You're so funny. And it was interesting because God, he was like not hounding me about it, but he kept asking me what I did for a living. And sidebar number, I don't know, 3. I don't particularly always like to tell people what I do for a living because it's annoying. I'm just being honest. I don't even really like when my friends like share with other people what I do for a living if they don't know me because it's annoying. And part of it is because I would prefer people to get to know me based off who I am versus looking at me or trying to understand me through the lens of my profession. And people tend to think that I'm analyzing them or everything kind of whatever I say gets filtered through the lens of me being a therapist. And it's just annoying sometimes. It's like, it's either you're reading somebody's mind or you're analyzing them or they want you to analyze somebody else or a situation. And it's like, I thought we were getting to know each other, but okay. And I'm not reading your mind or analyzing you or trying to figure out your trauma if you're not paying me. I mean, I will, you know what I'm saying, eventually, but I'm just saying, I mean, but that's everybody. But the fact that you think I'm freely just reading your mind or some weird shit like that, no, I'm not. Are you paying? You gonna pay me? Probably not. So that's annoying. So sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll give a general description like, oh yeah, I work in healthcare. But sometimes I just don't, and I don't care because it drives people crazy. Because I know it's a thing that people like to. It's like one of those quick assessment things people do, and it's nothing wrong with it, but it's just like because of the nature of what I do, it just starts to get convoluted with my job, like what I do for a living. But what was interesting about him, he was, really joking about it. And so he was just like, oh, okay, you must deal drugs. I'm like, that's exactly it. I deal drugs. Um, but like him and like other people, sometimes people really get flustered that I won't disclose it. And I don't know what it is about people sometimes that you hang on to this minor, very surface level thing. It's not surface, but for the most part, it's pretty surface. Instead of just getting to know me, like what difference does it make? And I feel like a lot of men, y'all always talking that shit about we don't care about what you do for a living. Lies, because that's your first fucking question that y'all always ask. Anyway, I'm sorry. You see, I was triggered. So we're on the phone. One thing he's talking about, I reflect something back to him. I said to him, I said, you seem like you're a very family oriented man. And he's like, what makes you say that? And I was like, well, you just talked about going to Atlanta to visit your family. You talked about your cousin who moved downtown. When I met you, you were with your cousins. And he like, damn, you really observant. Now, see how if I would have said I was a therapist, he would have been tracking that through the lens of me being a therapist. But I'm just like, no, I'm just an observant person. I look at patterns. Okay. So anyway, so we're chatting. He tells me about his grandkid who's 19. And I'm like, I don't even have to do the math, but why you got a 19-year-old grandson? I mean, hey, do your thing. You've been doing your thing, but it's fine. I don't care. Either here or there. He's grown. But he lives with him. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, cause I was wondering when you mentioned man cave, how you got a man cave? Because You live by yourself. I mean, the whole thing is your cave, but okay, you got a man cave. Again, check. So at some point in the conversation, he's like, yeah, we going on the date Saturday. And I'm telling him, like, okay, that's cool. I was like, what time? Oh, I'm gonna let you know. I said, okay, can you please let me know in a couple of days because I want to plan accordingly. And I tell him, I'm like, I really want to make sure that I'm in a really good space for you, that I can show up as my best self. So let me know so I can get prepared and get my mind right. And I meant that. Like, I'm not trying to be controlling or anything like that, but when I have details and plans, the information I need to make sure my day is set up so I can actually not feel rushed or, pressured to like get to this date, or that I'm not over scheduling myself and over extending myself, because I want to be able to be relaxed so I can show up and actually enjoy the date. But, again, you got a little red flag going on, because why can't you solidify the date? So anyway, he continues to, we have a little conversation and all that stuff. And he starts calling me secretive because he asked me another question and I kind of answered it, but he was just like, you're so secretive. I said, I'm not secretive. I'm just private and I'm a little guarded. And I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm just not a person that just want to divulge everything about me. Like, I'm not holding back. I'm fully engaged in this conversation. The conversation is flowing. So that secrecy stuff, I was just be like, I'm not secret. I'm not I'm not a secretive person. So I'm telling him, like, I am actually pretty much an open book once you get to know me. Once I feel comfortable. So either you gonna put the time in or not, but I'm not just out here just giving myself away. Sorry. But at one point I'm asking him, I'm like, yo, why you ain't going to the house yet? He like, what? I'm like, it sounds like you're still sitting outside in your car. And he's just like, oh, cause I'm just chilling. I'm about to go in there and something. I'm like, okay. And he said some other stuff, blah, blah, blah. Wrap up the phone call. Great phone call. Very pleasant. Had a interesting, whatever. So I messaged him 2 days later. It's Thursday. Today, this morning. I messaged him. I'm like, good morning. And he's like, hey, good morning. Something. I said, how you feeling today? Whatever. So I don't even ask him about plans for the date. But I get this message from him and he's like, do you still want to go on a date? Despite my situationship I got going on. I said, wait a minute. I said, excuse me? I said, what is the situation? And he's like, married. Jumbo red flag, big jumbotron red flag. I said, wait a minute, you're married? He like, yeah, I don't know why men be lying, cause woo, woo, woo. I mean, we like roommates. I said, like? Because I said to him, I said, I had my suspicions. I said, I didn't know, but I had my suspicions. He was like, yeah, I thought that. I said, so he gets to explaining the situation. Like, we like roommates, and uh I sleep in another room, and it's a sexless marriage. And I said, I bet you're doing other husbandly things though. This man told me everything but sex. But she do her thing, I do my thing. Oh, really? Put her on the phone. Let me holler at her. Let me see if she tells me, yeah, I be doing my thing and he be doing his thing. So he like, well, I mean, I just, I tell him, I was like, I appreciate your honesty though. I do. I said, but it's disappointing. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I've been real disappointed with men lately. I'm like, y'all are not my favorite right now. I'm like, it's just disappointing. And he's like, well, I mean, I forgot all what he was saying, but he was trying. He was trying. I said, I was like, I really was excited. I was looking forward to getting to know you. I was like, it felt like we had some things in common. I'm like, I think we could have had a lot of fun together. Cause let me let you know though. Let me let you know what's happening here and what you about to just fumble. Cause red flag on the play, marry man down. All the way down though to the depths. So he's just like, he's saying something else like, well, well, don't my well, first he's just like, well, what if we run into each other on accident? What difference does that make? I'm trying to figure out because I don't know you. We're still strangers, so the likelihood of me even spotting you out on the street that is low, very like your standards, like your morality, like your commitment to your wife, very low, sir. So he's like, or I mean, don't my honesty deserve a date? No. No, your honesty just deserves to be accepted. And I'll just tell him, I said, how about you take your wife on a date and rekindle that flame? Why don't you do that? You gonna delete me? Yes. What you thought this was? Yeah, I'm deleting your ass. And see, this is the thing. He peeped. He peeped game. He's a smart man though. Cause he was like, you be paying attention. That's what he told me when we were on the phone. I'm observant. I pay attention. Yeah, because I heard your engine running for y'all really think y'all be doing something when y'all gotta be in the streets moving around? Like, I hear it. It sounds different when you sitting in your car and your engine is running versus when you're in your home sitting on your couch. But whatever. But you still tried to slide it in there, right? Because he also knew, like, oh, I think I kind of like you. You know, you kind of like my vibe. It's cool. I'm real. I'm funny. I'm all that stuff. So you knew you couldn't just fuck around with the fuck around. But I'm like, I'm so annoyed by it. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I didn't even get him to smoke because I was like, and speaking of smoke, that's my inner man. Yes, I have an inner man. He don't talk like that. I'm not ready to divulge how smoke talk, but that is my inner G. Well, sorry, I have an inner G. She's a woman. Inner G, and I have smoke. Okay, smoke. That's the man in me. And if I feel like the man in me is more masculine than you, that's a turnoff. And so when you're coming at me and you're a married man, that's a turnoff. And I know maybe feeling like women desire men that are already attached. I know all of that. I don't care. You look weak to me. You literally look weak. You're sitting here telling me that you and your wife are like roommates and you're paying for everything. You do all the husbandly duties, but you can't get no fucking pussy in your home. That's some weak shit to me. That's a turnoff. That's not attractive. You can't get pussy in your home or outside of your home. Not attractive. And you think that no, because he said something like, we don't argue, so that's why I just haven't left. Sir, that's not, who cares? That's not a thing. It's cheaper to keep her. And you can't get no pussy. Like, come on. You don't argue, but you're in a sexless ass marriage. And obviously, vagina is very important to you because you out here scouting for it. Why your wife ain't giving it up? Or maybe she is giving up. I don't know. Maybe that's just your lie that you tell the women you try to, manipulate into playing your game that you play. And I mean, even with the situationship, sir, you're not in a situationship. You're in a marriage. You have a legal document. So, I was just like, hey, I'm gonna need y'all to get it together because that's not attractive. That's not desirable. And you coming at me talking about don't my honesty deserve, you're not an honest person. You only came clean because you really had to. Then and then he ends the conversation with, well then I tried. You tried what? It's like, I didn't ask you to cheat on your wife. Like, what did you try? Like, what are you guilting me about? Like, you didn't. You're tired, is what you should. You're tired. You're tired. Maybe that's what he meant. Not tried. Tired. Tired. Tired pods. No, I was about to say something, but anyway. And this is the thing too. Like, men like that, like, y'all never want low budget women. And I mean, no shame, no shade. But y'all always want high quality women y'all can fuck over. It's something about being deceptive. It's something about, like, you know what I'm saying? Like bringing a high quality woman down for your temporary attention. Like, that doesn't even remotely sound interesting, fun, or anything to me, to have a piece of a man. I got that inside of me. Smoke is my piece of a man, okay? Okay. And he be checking motherfuckers left and right. So, red flags all over the place. It's like red flag confetti. I'm catching them left and right, left and right. He fumbled Mary Man down. Get it together, sir. No, thank you. You should be ashamed of yourself because your game is fucking whack. And you look weak and lame to me. Oh, yeah. I also told him he was messy. You messy. Messy man. Messy. What's the messy Maya? If you know, you know. Messy Maya. So yeah, when that intuition gets to tinkling, it may be just a little tingle, but you sit with it. You don't have to always like figure out what it is. What is my intuition trying to tell me? It'll lead you there. You'll find it. Just like I found it, right? He gave it to me. He had to hand it over. Had to hand all his red flags over. I didn't ask you to cheat, sir. So just leave me alone. And you really thought I was going. And you thought I was going to give you a sympathy date? You a joke. One that's not funny. So anyway, that's my relational rant today. Annoyed. But moving on to the next, okay? We'll see what else is out there. I'm ready for it. You know what I'm saying? Me, my intuition, and smoke. Okay, we're ready for it all. But as always, I see you, I hear you, and I'm here for you. This is Unmuted. Until next time, talk soon. Bye.